On December 20, 1989, the United States launched a full-scale invasion of Panama, a small Central American nation in one of the most controversial military operations of the late 20th century. But why did this happen? What were the motivations behind the U.S. action, and what were the consequences for Panama, the U.S., and the world? U.S. troops preparing for battle, jets flying, and streets of Panama. To understand the invasion, we must first go back to the 1980s and the leadership of Panamanian strongman General Manuel Noriega. Noriega was a military officer who rose to power in Panama in the late 1970s. Although he initially cooperated with the United States, particularly with the CIA, by the late 1980s, his regime became increasingly dictatorial and corrupt. Noriega was deeply involved in drug trafficking, arms smuggling, and suppressing opposition. Despite these activities, he managed to remain in power for over a decade. Show clips of Noriega in military parades, news headlines about drug trafficking, and reports of human rights abuses. His once strong relationship with Washington soured when Noriega's drug connections became too much to ignore. Meanwhile, the U.S. also grew concerned about maintaining control over the strategic Panama Canal, a key waterway linking the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans. Section 2. Rising Tensions. Cut to footage of U.S. President George H.W. Bush addressing the nation. By 1989, the U.S. had several reasons for military intervention. President George H.W. Bush justified the invasion by citing four key objectives: the protection of U.S. citizens in Panama, defending democracy and human rights, ensuring the neutrality of the Panama Canal, and bringing Noriega to justice for his drug-related crimes. Insert visuals of Americans living in Panama, the Panama Canal, and protests in Panama. Tensions escalated in the months leading up to the invasion. In December 1989, an incident involving the killing of a U.S. Marine by Panamanian Defense Forces became the final straw. Shortly afterward, President Bush ordered the invasion. Switch to military action footage. U.S. soldiers landing, helicopters, and combat scenes. On December 20, 1989, Operation Just Cause began. Over 27,000 U.S. troops, along with 300 aircraft, were deployed to Panama, facing around 16,000 Panamanian forces. Asterisk. Show maps of Panama with troop movements and significant locations, such as the Panama Canal and Panama City. The U.S. military quickly overwhelmed the Panamanian forces, capturing key strategic locations, including the Panamanian Defense Force headquarters and Noriega's private residence. Civilians in Panama City were caught in the crossfire, leading to hundreds of casualties and widespread destruction. Asterisk. Cut to interviews with Panamanian citizens recalling the invasion and aftermath. While the U.S. forces were victorious, Noriega remained at large. In an ironic twist, Noriega sought refuge in the Vatican's diplomatic mission in Panama City.